Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to apologise if I sound a bit nasal today. I think I've been brewing something all week and it wasn't a cup of tea, but it hasn't developed, although I've got a really tight chest this morning. I was talking to a lady in group who I sit with and she's feeling exactly the same, so I think it's just something that's going around in our area. Sometimes at group you hear something that you think could be quite game-changing, shall we say, in the slimming world. I don't think I'll change my game because it's not something I'm particularly interested in, but I think it will be game-changing for a lot of people who can shop in Iceland and are working this plan. And bringing the information for those people who don't get to group but might be interested. And that is that on the 21st of January, Slimming World are launching their chunky chips. These will be free on plan, these will be on sale in Iceland. I don't have a price, I'm afraid, and I don't have a weight for the bag. This is the thing I'm interested to see. How many chips will be in a bag? Is it going to be half a kilo? Is it going to be a kilo? Whatever, 750 grams, whatever. And how many recommended portions will that be? Because I think we could take some really good advice from that bag to see what actually they recommend as a portion of chips. I know chips are free. I know you can squirt till it hurts with fry light and you can throw them in your active fry, you can throw them in the oven. You can do what you like with them. But what is a portion of chips? I mean, personally, I think around, 200 grams? I don't know. I don't even know what 200 grams of chips look like. I might be one of the only people who's done this plan for 4 years and never had Slimming World chips. But chips was never one of my things. I didn't get fat eating chips. I'm not bothered about chips, although Joe tells me I would like chips and cheese. But I thought that was something good to come out of group. And again, I repeat, I think it's a good way of learning portion control by looking at their recommended portion size. I want to put a thank you out to Shell. Last week I talked about the fact that I didn't have access to the plan, and Shell, bless her, put a message up saying that she had got the CD version, so it was now available. Before my consultant went on holiday, mid-December, she had contacted Slimming World. She had received all of her new packs ready for us to be given them at Christmas, but she hadn't received a CD pack. She had contacted them and it wasn't available, so we assumed it wasn't going to be available. Just shows assuming can make an ass of you and me, but as Joe says. But anyway, thank you, Shell. Thank you for sharing that information, and thank you to all those people who offered me help. Because, you know, that's one of the nice things about doing this channel. We're in it together and people do help one another. And I'm always grateful when people offer me help because they're working this plan too. We're living a lifestyle and what we can do to help each other is really, really valuable and it's actually powerful. We're enabling each other. I love that. So here it is. Here's my set of CDs, Loving Food Optimizing. I do. Yeah, it's nice to know that I've got, I think, each of the books that come in the pack, because before I've never had the whole lot. So I'm quite excited to listen to some of those. I might have a go later today. It'll make a change from Netflix, won't it? That's something, I was given Netflix as a gift at Christmas, and I haven't watched television for, I don't know, over 6 years, 7 years maybe. And because I use audio description, I just didn't think Netflix would be accessible to me until we discovered this week that there is audio description on a lot of the things, particularly things that are specifically made for Netflix. Now, the first film I watched when I got my Netflix was The Bird Box, recommended by Debbie, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I suppose in a lot of ways it's a bit relevant to me, although I don't need the blindfold. I really, really enjoyed the film, but I'm actually going to watch it again tomorrow with audio description because I missed out on quite a lot. Even though Debbie filled me in a few places, a few of the very visual things, I actually thought it was a jolly good film. Really, really. Didn't have me on the edge of my seat, but it kept me interested through the whole film. And another film that Debbie recommended, which was totally, totally different because it's very light-hearted, is a film called Dumpling, D-U-M-P-L-I-N. And if you're a Dolly Parton fan, which I am, it's worth watching that. It's a good film, it's light-hearted, it's easy watching, but it's worth watching for the music. So, yeah. And I'm madly, madly in love now with Benedict Cumberbatch. I've started watching the Sherlock series. And again, using the audio description, which I think audio description is designed for people who've always been blind. When you've been sighted and then you're blind, it's sometimes a bit over much. They give you too much information. But yeah, it's added a different string to my bow this week. So that's that. The first topic on my list this week is about overeating. And I've been doing some of that this week. Not in a detrimental way, because I've been overeating on vegetables. I am mad for vegetables. Anything green at the moment. Although kaleets are purple until you cook them and then they turn green. Kaleets, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. Oh my God, there are some amazing cauliflowers. We bought a cauliflower in Waitrose yesterday, didn't we, Joe? Mm. And Joe and I stand there and we like get excited by cauliflower. We just love our veg. And this week I have found that because I have my main meal at lunchtime, my veg has been creeping up and up and up, and my meals have been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think possibly I have way more than a third of veg because I just love vegetables. So there's been a couple of days this week where I've actually said to Joe, oh my word, I am too full. And one night in particular, when we were going out, we were actually walking down the road and I said to Joe, I feel like I've just eaten a huge Christmas dinner. I feel too full and I don't like this feeling. So from yesterday I've reined it in a bit. I'm conscious that we need a good amount of fibre. There was a brilliant thing on the news apparently last night explaining about where this nation falls down by not eating enough fibre. And it said that, and Joe might pick this up because he knows a bit more than I do, but it said an adult needs 30 grams of fibre a day. Does that sound right, Joe?
Yeah, I think it's like 20 to 30 grams.
Yeah, 20 to 30. But where I am totally naive, and I just said to Joe at one time, but I eat probably 80 grams of broccoli, so I'm sorted. But 80 grams of broccoli is not 80 grams of fibre, is it, Joe?
No.
And it's like,
no.
The lady I was sitting with today was telling me about it, and then Naomi brought it up in group. We need to be fibre aware, and there is going to be a massive campaign in this country to get people to up their fibre. So I'm going to get Joe to look some up for me later. You know, like if I eat a banana, what proportion of that, say 120 grams of banana or whatever, is fibre? It's not a lot. An apple, a pear.
Yeah, it's simple really. You know, it's just 5 pieces a day.
Yeah.
5 about the size of your fist.
So 5 portions of fruit and veg a day.
About the size of your fist will cover you for fibre, yeah.
Will cover you for fibre.
Yeah.
There's a good tip for you then. I'm going to go with
Rather
that.
than freaking out about numbers and stuff like that, just go on that. Like just maybe like 2 portions with each meal. Like 2 fistfuls with each meal, so that's 6.
Yeah. And focus on vegetables in the majority rather than fruit in the majority.
Yeah. So like 3 veg, 2 fruit. I think that's the recommendation to get variety. Because each thing contains different
But apparently as
nutrition.
a nation we are not eating enough fibre. So when you feel inclined to think, well, I have a bit of salad on the side, so you might have a bit of, I'd go for iceberg lettuce if I had to eat lettuce, and you might have a couple of cherry tomatoes and 2 slices of cucumber and some red onion, shall we say, or a radish or 2. The vast majority of that is water, it's not fibre. It's a lot of water in that. And I think we need to kind of re-educate ourselves. But what I found exciting was Slimming World are ahead of the game, because they help us to achieve it by telling us to eat a third of our plate as vegetables, by telling us to have a healthy extra B. They're helping us, and there is a reason for it. It's not just they pluck this out of thin air and say do it this way. It's because that's the healthy way to do it. So this week I think I've overeaten on vegetables, and you might say, oh, don't be daft, you can't do that. But the size of my meals, the size of because as I said, I have my main meal at lunchtime. The size of my main meal has been big, hasn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it's been getting bigger.
And getting bigger. And I don't eat small meals anyway. Another thing I discovered this week while it's in my mind, I think it's on my desk, Joe, if you could show it. Found a new pack of sushi in Morrison's. It's actually it's fish, isn't it, Joe? Yeah. So it's salmon and prawn. It's actually priced at £3. You get 9 pieces of sushi and it's 2.5 sins. Now, I would eat 2 of those. If I was having a sushi and fruit at tea time or something, I'd eat 2 of those packs. So that's £6, 18 pieces of sushi. I don't skimp. I don't I don't ever go hungry. Yeah, so overeating this week, but only on vegetables, not on fruit even, because I've kind of got myself into the habit of 2 pieces of fruit, or what I call 2 pieces. I would eat a whole punnet of blueberries, I wouldn't eat a little scattering. To me, a portion of blueberries, I think when you look at it, the weight is probably a portion and a half, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah.
But I call a punnet of blueberries a portion. This week, Morrison's have got cherries back in, 2 for £3. I would call a punnet of cherries a portion. I'm overdoing that because most people would not eat a whole punnet of blueberries. They might have a small handful with their breakfast or whatever. So I don't skimp, but I don't like pull it in to... I couldn't have 6 blueberries and call it a portion, let's put it that way. If I open a punnet, I want to eat them while they're fresh. So I would have a punnet a day. A banana might be my second piece of fruit, or I might have a punnet of cherries and a pear. But 2 pieces of fruit, and then the rest of my focus for fibre is on vegetables. But not as many this week, because oh my days. I mean, I was getting to the stage where I'm like, the waist on my jeans is tight, and I know I'm not eating the wrong things, but I don't like that feeling. I don't like feeling like that. I don't like feeling trapped in my clothes. I like room to move. Right, next point, Joe.
Enjoyed walking.
Yeah, we've had a week this week where we've had space to walk, and I have done over 125,000 steps this week. Joe's done way more than me, but yeah, I've done over 125,000 this week, and I haven't, apart from yesterday, I struggled a bit yesterday, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. Apart from yesterday, we did about 10 miles one day this week, and when we got back, and 10 miles for me would be about 23,500 steps. When we got home, I said to Joe, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I could do it again. I felt so energised. I do put that down to eating a balanced diet, and I put it down, I think the 2 healthy extra A's is helping me. So walking this week has been good. Can't promise to do the same next week, but I do not rely on walking for losing weight. And I think it's reflected in my results that I can't rely on walking for losing weight. Never have been able to. So, next subject, Joe. Yesterday. All my troubles seem so far away. Yesterday was Joe's 25th birthday. On Joe's 18th birthday, 7 years ago yesterday, I had to ring the paramedics and I had to ring the police, and I had to have my dad taken into hospital for his own safety because he had dementia. And my dad was about 80 at the time, 79, 80, and he had sorry, that's my iPad. He had dementia for a while, and it just got dramatically worse, and there was a safety issue. And my parents lived 65 miles away, so it wasn't like I could go round and sort out and help. I literally had to ring the paramedics and I had to ring the police, and my dad was taken into hospital at about midnight that day. I was thinking about it last night when the phone rang. My husband had had an accident and needed to be taken to hospital by ambulance. And I thought, oh my days. You know, I was just literally thinking about my dad being taken off in an ambulance, and there it happened again. Fortunately, he's okay, so there's no need for any worry or anything. I know this morning that he's okay. And a very, very dear friend helped him out, because I wasn't in a situation too, Joe wasn't here. Otherwise, we'd have helped. But when things like that happen, you're really not expecting them, are you? You're going through your day, you're in a good place, it's Joe's birthday, we've been out, we're having a good time, Joe's got off out with his mates, blah, blah, blah. Everything in the garden is rosy. And then one phone call, and everything can change, and a pile of stress, which you can't do anything about, lands right on your doorstep. And it wasn't anybody's fault, accidents happen, don't they? But it wasn't until I woke up this morning, and I mean, I didn't know until probably very, very late last night when Richard had had scans and things that he was all right, but it wasn't until I woke up this morning that it hit me. I didn't even think to eat over it. And I hadn't even thought at the time that I haven't thought about eating over this. It just was one of the most normal things I've done in my life. In fact, when I got the phone call to say what happened, I hadn't had my tea. So I went on and had my tea. And as part of my tea, I had some fruit, which I forgot to eat it because I was actually full, and I actually left it on the side in the kitchen and then forgot to go back for it. But the thing that astounded me this morning is the difference, because 7 years ago, when Dad was taken into hospital and it was all just dropped at my feet, I ate all night because I couldn't stop myself. I was just so beside myself with anxiety and worry about, I think a lot of it was guilt. I'm 65 miles away, I can't do anything, I can't help my mum. I'd got mum on the landline in this ear, I'd got the 999 service on the mobile line in this ear, and I felt like the pig in the middle who could do bugger all. And I was so guilty, and guilt is a massive emotion, but I was so guilty and so beside myself because I felt so useless being blind, I couldn't just jump in a car and drive, that all I could do all night was eat. So for those two things, I mean, bless you, Richard, I'm sorry you hurt yourself, but it showed me just how far I've come in 7 years, that I didn't even think about doing it. And I think that's where this plan promises to take us if we do it and we do it consistently. And I am really grateful this morning for the fact that I don't feel like that anymore. Yeah, really grateful. So, next point, Joe.
Not enough fat.
Yeah. Yesterday morning, got up, Joe got up, open birthday presents, open birthday cards, felt $1 million. Had a shower, washed my hair, got dressed, got my breakfast, sat down to eat my breakfast, fully clothed, in the lounge, and we've got like a 7-foot radiator to the side of my chair. And all of a sudden I thought, I'm cold. It's not that cold. I mean, it's cold at the moment, isn't it? It's January, but it's not that cold. But I was cold, but I was cold from the core, not like my outside. I was just cold from the core, and I've got a fleece sort of cardigan on. I said to Joe, I'm really cold. Anyway, long story short, we got ready to go out. We were walking our usual sort of 3/4 of a mile to get the tram into the city. And I literally was shaking, wasn't I, Joe? I was holding Joe's arm, and I was like, and you're doing that on purpose. But I wasn't. I was shaking with cold. Now I had on a warm top, I had on a fleece, I had on a jacket, I had a big Aran scarf on, I had gloves on. This is not like me anyway, because I'm usually like half dressed. And I was shaking with cold. And that went on for about an hour and a half. And Joe said, for goodness sake, what's wrong with you, Mum? And then he got it, he got the revelation. The day before, I had eaten no fat. Because I'd had quark with my breakfast, which is fat-free. I'd had chicken breast slices with my lunch. Whereas I often would have salmon, which has got a lot more oil in it. I'd had no cheese. I'd sinned milk, but I don't have cow's milk. I have coconut milk. And all that. But when we actually looked back and analysed what I had eaten on Thursday, I had eaten no fat. And I was freezing. Now, I know that I feel the cold more now that I'm slim than I did when I was 22 stone and always sweating like the proverbial pig, shall we say. But I don't feel it like that usually. I'm usually in a reasonably healthy glow. But when we then met Richard in town and went for a coffee, I actually had a cortado with full fat milk, which I sinned, just to get a bit of fat into my system. And then at lunchtime I bought some poached salmon to get some oil into my system. And do you know what? It felt like by the time I'd eaten my lunch, somebody had clicked a light switch and I was back to being warm again. So that's something I need to be. It might not apply to any of you, but I need to be aware of that. I cannot go low fat. I can go low sugar. I can go practically sugar free. It doesn't bother me. But I need some fat in my diet. And yeah, I was frozen, absolutely frozen. So are we on to my results now, Joey?
Yep.
Yeah. Right, results this morning. Massive group again. I think Naomi said she's had 38 new members this week. Lovely group there, buzzing, really friendly. 5-week-old baby right behind me. She was tiny, wasn't she, Joe? Phoebe, she's gorgeous. So went to group and we all get weighed and then we sit down, don't we, for image therapy, and their room was heaving and it was great. And Naomi is so organised and does it in such a professional manner. we went round the room, and not in the definite usual pattern. We target members first, and then we did newcomers, and then we did existing members. But everybody is given the opportunity to ask for help when they need it. And some people did. One lady was saying that she was very, I suppose the word is fearful. She didn't say fearful. I can't remember the word she did use. But she was a bit apprehensive, shall we say, about having the second healthy extra A and using it for cheese. And yet she'd done it. But she said, I didn't do it comfortably. I felt, this is too much fat, can't do this, not going to be good. She got a £3 loss, and she's a lady who is very close to target. She got a £3 loss. I'm going to give examples here. You don't know which group I go to, you don't know any of the people, I'm not going to use their names. But there were a good number of newcomers from last week, and the one lady lost 8.5, 6.5, 4.5, 4. Those sort of figures, you know, and a lovely lady at the other side of the room said, I lost £2, which again is great. It's a good loss, £2. When you look at that block of fat that sits on the table, £2 is a good loss. And she said, I'm a bit disappointed in that. And so Naomi said, did you follow the plan? You know the plan. She said, yeah. She said, did you have 2 A's? Yeah. Did you have 1 B? Yeah. What was your average sin figure? 0. Didn't need any. Didn't use any sins. Now, I'm not going to overanalyse this. My opinion is that what it says in the book is right, 5 to 15. I always go for the 15 because I'm a greedy bugger. No sins does not get you a good weight loss. I've seen it so many times. I sit in that meeting every week and I listen to what everybody says. I'm a great listener. You could be a people watcher, you could be a people listener. I'm a great listener. I don't miss anything. No sins will not get you a good weight loss. You need the synergy. And so this lovely lady lost £2. Now, I'm not judging people on how much they've got to lose. I don't know what size anybody else is except me. But I do know that that doesn't work. And I thought this morning it really highlighted it. 0 sins is deprivation. And when Naomi said to her, do you really feel you can sustain that for the foreseeable future? Because this plan is about living it on a daily basis. And the lady said she thought she could. I couldn't. Could you? I couldn't. And also Naomi said, you know, when you get to a stage where you need to make a change, because you've been doing this for a long time and maybe you need to cut something out or change something up, if you're doing 0 sins from day 1, you've got nowhere to go. So I'm not criticising the lady. She was doing what she thought would work best for her. She may continue to do that. It's her right to do it. But 4 years observing that group, time and time again I see that it doesn't work. My results, went into group, got on the scales and maintained. So even though I felt so stuffed full of food this week, i.e. my vegetable intake, I really was 100% on plan. I had 102.5 of my 105 sins because there was several days in the week when I only had 14.5 rather than 15, but I wasn't going to scratch around the house looking for something for half a sin. It doesn't matter that much. But that's how it works for me. I can only talk about myself because I'm the only person. I do me, you can do you, and in the nicest possible way. I can only talk about my own experiences and what I observe. And yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving the second Healthy Extra A choice. And something else that came up talking to a group of ladies in group this morning is the second Healthy A choice. Do we read it as a recommendation? Do we read it as optional? I think the book says 2. You have 2. It doesn't say please yourself. It says this plan is 2 A's, 1 B, 5 to 15 sins. And if you keep it to that and you keep it as simple as that, it makes it easier. Well, it does for me. That's all I can share. So it's been a good week all in all. We're going forward next week, nothing dramatic in the week except it's Mammogram Monday, which is one of those exciting days for us girls, isn't it? But you just do it. You just go through the motions and you do what you need to do. I'm out on Thursday with a friend. Don't know whether we're eating out or whatever, but the choice is mine, isn't it? I don't have to do anything else because somebody else is doing it. I have a choice. That's what I like the freedom. So we're off shopping now. Morrison's is our next stop. We'll be back next Saturday. We hope you all have a good week. Take care. Bye.